Welcome to For the Culture podcast. I'm Christina, this is Max, and this is Rose. And today we have Dr.
Coach. You can call me what you want.
Dr.
Hey, Dr. Shirazi. We got a few of those.
Okay.
He said a few of those.
He's like a doctor.
My dad and my sister are doctors.
The same.
Heart doctors, and they
Heart
come
doctor.
to me. They come to me, so.
He's a doctor by heart, okay. But Coach Shirazi.
So,
And tell us about yourself and like how you're doing today.
I'm doing very well. Feeling very blessed and grateful. Great day so far. I worked with clients. I taught a class. And I actually interviewed a friend of mine, a yoga teacher. So now I'm being interviewed. So it's like the perfect balance.
So the interview has get on front of the camera. We're asking you questions now.
What?
We're going to be asking you questions.
Okay, exactly. Yeah.
So I know me and you was talking on the phone and we just discussed a couple things just now. Go ahead and touch on the topic with the 9/11 thing you was talking to us about.
Okay, so we're going all the way in off the bat. Just a little give a background about me. Parents were born in Pakistan, or like Pakistani, Persian, Arabic, like all that whole mix. South Asia, Middle Eastern, like a mix.
So it's divided.
Well, it's all intermixed. Yeah. So it's like there's a huge story to that, but we don't need to touch into that. Yeah. So I was born in Saudi Arabia, but I'm the youngest of four. My father's a cardiologist. He moved from Pakistan, like grassroots. I'm talking about. He has a great story. Moved to America, started a family, did so much for all of us to provide us with an opportunity. 3 older siblings were born in the States. Then he went and worked, and they left Atlanta to go to Saudi Arabia. I was born, and then I was back in Atlanta like a year and a half. So essentially, I don't really remember too much of it. So I grew up in ATL, so that's all I remember.
Zone 6?
What?
Zone 6?
He's like, what is that?
30338. I'm from Dunwoody. But so, just family provided a lot of love for me. I never saw color in it. Like, we're all one. That's the way I've always looked at everything. And that's the way my family raised me. So my mom, amazing, the kindest woman in the world. So she would just make me food, and I would just play ball. And I was just super active. So I naturally gravitated towards sports. And I guess the 9/11, the whole reason I brought up is I was so young. I didn't really understand all this stuff that was going on, but having the Middle Eastern background and stuff, I was in 7th grade. So imagine like 12 years old, about to turn 13, and that stuff happens.
Puts you in a tough position.
Yeah, and you know
you're
what?
young too on top of that.
Yeah, no, but it's like you already got the social stresses of being a boy turning into like a man and trying to figure out your place in the world. And my whole life I've always been the number one minority. So even though in Atlanta and I've always understood that, but people haven't really understood my side to the story, or even just like in our generation, the Middle Eastern Muslim population, even though I'm not like a follower, any of that, but it's just like I just stand for justice and equality for all forms of life. But it's a story that hasn't been spoken about very much. Is like there's so many people from that background that are just kind, cool people. They're not doing anything, but because of this stigma from the media and all this stereotypes and all that. So it's like, I feel like my world changed because I was like a happy baby. I felt safe and supported in my environment. But when that happened, I no longer felt like I belonged. Like I was already always the number one minority. I'm the only kid from a Middle Eastern Muslim background growing up in Dunwoody, Georgia. And then after that happened, it's just like a trickle effect. And I also moved to Valdosta for a semester in 8th grade. That was quite South Georgia.
Yeah.
So I've been through it all, man. I've seen a lot of stuff. Yeah, dirty South.
Yeah.
So I've been called it all. I've seen it all, or I've experienced a lot as far as when it comes to just not being treated as kind as we should.
I don't be liking that, man. When I be seeing them pick wop just because of what they are at the airport or something.
But that happened to our family, all of it. And the funny, find humor in it, because if you think about it, like my father was the youngest. He did the best he could to provide for his family. Model citizens. Myself was a 4.0 student in high school, super talented, just want to see people happy and stuff, but that's why it's best not to assume without asking, and we should be kind and compassionate and get to know one another, because I feel like my whole life people have just like, they see the outside and they speak about others more than they speak with them, and that leads to just all sorts of unnecessary conflicts, resistance.
I'm not gonna say my story was similar to yours, but I used to have dreads, and people would look at me different because I had dreads. And then when I cut my hair off, they looking at me like I'm a brand new person.
Yeah.
And us blacks too have a similar situation too, where cops are like, they're threatened by us for some reason, like because a whole bunch of shootings with blacks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Stereotypes.
Stereotypes
are horrible.
It's so funny. So I'm like, I've always, like I said, I just vibe with everybody, whoever my friends are. So I've always had, like, even in high school, I had like the creams, the browns, and in between. So I've always been a connector and facilitator, because, like I said, like my family raised me. Everyone's welcome. Like, it's all good. So I always had like black best friends, white best friends, like Hispanic. I've always chilled with everyone. So it's kind of funny too, because it was hard for me to always find a place, because kind of in Atlanta too, it was like very white and black. And then there's like it's like there's like a war going on, and I'm just like trying to be a peacemaker.
Florida's a little different.
What? Yeah, Florida's different. You know, like
go up north, Florida, crazy.
Up south Florida.
Yeah, we're very cultural.
Racist. Well, you're still in Georgia.
Oh, for sure. I experience it all the time. But the thing is like, I will say, being in South Florida and Miami was the first time that people ask me about my background and are actually intrigued, and it's like an admirable quality and characteristic, as opposed to growing up, I was just like kind of embarrassed about everything, because like
no shame.
Yeah, no, but you know, like going through those growing pains, I didn't have the strength and awareness that I do now, and like, when you're growing up, you don't have the voice. Like, you're still figuring out your voice in the world. Like, there's a lot of things but I believe everything happens for a reason. So,
did this lead you into wanting to be a health coach?
So, since I was a baby, like, I'm telling you, just food, being active, making people happy. So, and I was always playing. So naturally, my cousins and everyone who was around, I would always get us together. So play whatever game it is, basketball, football, anything with a ball, table tennis, pool. Like, I'm just a gamer. I just like to chill, play games, and hang out with my friends, eat good food, stuff like that. So super simple. So I kid you not, like, as far as I remember, I would get people together. We would have healthy competition with things, but then, just enjoy each other's company. So I've always been into sports and athletics, and an influencer amongst friends, family, whoever I'm around. Kind of like, I was the youngest, but I feel like since I was born, I was put into a leadership role, especially because of my father's background and me being his youngest son, and then having so much family around, and then
family influence kind of pushed you into a path of wanting to just do better and help other people be healthy.
Help other people be healthy. Also, I will say, my dad's a cardiologist, so healthcare. He helps people with their heart.
He's always preaching to you, right?
What?
He's always preaching to you about.
Kind of. So my family, and as I got older, my dad, they're more like conservative Islamic. So I was raised with the foundations of discipline, Islam, whatever you hear, and not. It's a religion of love and peace, and mostly it's all that. People just get confused with the message. Love, peace, hygiene, being kind and compassionate to yourself and to everyone else. So I would say my prayers 5 times a day. I would fast and have basketball practice. So from a young age, I had more discipline than anybody. Like, people would be teasing me. I'm fasting in school, and they're like teasing me with their flaming hot Cheetos and stuff and messing around with me, but it's cool. Like, I've been used to it my whole life. As far as like, I feel like I've always had a higher mountain to climb, per se.
So how did that translate into basketball?
Okay, so exactly. So I was just super disciplined. I always wanted to be the best. So younger, I was a little bit. I am a fiery person. I've just learned to tone it down. Like when I would invite friends over to basketball tournaments and stuff, like I took nothing. Like I would play everyone one-on-one and all that, but it was all in a healthy.
It was competitive.
It was competitive, but healthy competitive. It's like I'll invite you over, I'll wax you and whatever we play, but then I'll feed you.
Yeah.
It's not like ego. There's no ego involved. Like it's more of just that camaraderie and that healthy bonding. And well, I've visioned playing in the NBA. That's all I did. So like I would come home from school, do whatever I want to do, make sure my mom's good, make sure my mom's cool with me, and I just go play basketball right outside for like 4 hours a day. Envisioning. I've done so much visualization of tearing it up in the NBA. And like I said, I started playing like at 8th. I was 8 years old. And I remember the first I played in Doty Baptist Church. First year I played, we were like the Utah Jazz. I won MVP. And like I would kill it in church leagues, but when it came time and once we mixed in like middle school and then like all the people who I thought were my friends and stuff like that, it just didn't work out. We all have things in life where it's like we had these huge hopes and dreams, and it's just like things just did not work out the way I wanted to. So I never even got a chance. Yeah, but I never even. So from a young age, all I ever dreamed about was playing basketball with my friends, and just never panned out. And then, I mean, there's a lot more to the story. In high school, no one from Dunwoody played on the team. It was like a recruited all-star team, so there wasn't even any point in tryouts. Yeah. So I've become, okay, so I know we got off topic. I've become a coach, and what I've become is what I always needed. What I feel like is a male, positive role model, someone who's like, what is your dream? Okay, I got you. Like, I never had a coach or a teacher or someone like ask me how I'm doing, what my dream is, and how they're going to help me accomplish that. So pretty much my friends, my clients, everyone who I meet, I'm like, okay, what is your dream? How are we going to make you happy? Because like, and that's kind of like, I guess for some of our path, we become what we always desired or needed.
What so, kind of, oh sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, but that's in a roundabout way. So it's just like, we can take so many different angles. That was just the angle that flowed right now as far as how I became coach, but I always wanted to be the best. And then I didn't have support, so I would always better myself. Anytime people didn't believe in me, I would always channel it into bettering myself.
As for, I know a lot of kids, they go through so much in the child development stages, yes. You know, with bullying and everything. In New York, they used to have programs where they would have all the kids like till 11 o'clock. You had unlimited gym and everything, yeah. And they've been taking it away from schools. What do you feel about like those type of situations? Like, do you feel like athletics is very helpful in releasing anger and etc.?
I feel like, well, it's all about channeling, but it needs to be a safe space. So the thing is, and I want to develop, a lot of wellness and community centers where everyone has the opportunity, because athletics is a great avenue to help build character and build that teamwork and work on those values and be a team together, because that's how we accomplish things in life. But I do feel like it's a top-down thing. So if the coaches, the system, and all that stuff is corrupt, it's not going to work. Because if the coaches are looking out for themselves and not for the kids, how do you you're setting an example? Because at the end of the day, when we're kids, we absorb everything. So if your teachers and coaches aren't really authentic and they're not really looking out for the best interests of the kids, then it'll be like anything else. It'll be a product of that.
What's the best way to lose weight?
Start off by breathing, hydrating, eating well. I mean, I believe in taking a holistic approach, but it's all about understanding your why and then just being mindful and present with everything that you do.
So you don't believe in like girls when they go get like like the lipo and Brazilian butt.
People can do whatever they want. I have a very grassroots, like, master what you have in front of you. So be present in each and every moment. Shortcuts don't usually. Shortcuts are gonna be borrowed time. If you try to take shortcuts, there's always gonna be people like me who are patient, persistent, and work hard for it, and you're never gonna win taking the easy way out. It's just like kind of like, and that's part of my mission is, you know, I want to be a role model for people that, like, look, you can do things properly and still achieve the highest success in life. You don't have to follow the trends in the crowd.
All right, so first let's start off with, what is a holistic coach?
Okay, so holistic coach. Holistic meaning whole, encompassing all of it. So it's not just personal. It's not just like, okay, losing weight. It's like, man, or whoever I'm working with, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, environmentally, socially. You want to take every piece of the pie into consideration, because without one of those pieces, you're not whole. And that's the way I look at holistic. There's a lot of things nowadays that are trending. People like these words. People like a lot of this stuff. Holistic coach for me, it means that. And just being authentic and authentically kind. I'm not perfect. I still got so many things to work on. But to be a great coach, I feel like you just have to have experienced something and be willing to share to help someone in their path of growth. You don't have to have it all, but at least owning where you are.
So when a patient, you call them patients, clients?
It depends. Clients, I do work with patients too. It just depends on the environment.
Okay, so when someone comes to you and they're like I need help, like mind, body, and spirit, like they don't know what to do. How would you go about diagnosing how to help them?
So I don't really diagnose, because you know with all this stuff that I'm not getting in trouble.
How would you narrow down?
So we're gonna have what are the people called? What is it? FTC?
Yeah, but honestly, I'm ready for it all because I've been very diligent in respecting the process, everyone's process. Okay, so it just depends. For me, there's so many practical components, but I will say, and these are the things that you can't really learn, is I've always been or had heightened senses and everything with energy. So I base, whether it's a client, a friend, or anything, a genuine connection. Like, we have to be real with each other. So it just depends on first off, how they met or how we were introduced. If they were referred, then it's kind of like there's already an understanding. Or if there's someone just asking me for help. So what I'm saying is every situation is unique. So I don't really follow. Yeah, what?
So it's case by case.
Case by case. Everything I do is, like I said, is I feel like in order to serve best, you have to look at each situation as unique. So obviously I learned from all my experiences, but to be able to help someone genuinely, I gotta be present with them and meet them where they're at.
Okay.
So, and then understanding, but a great where I started is, what is your story and what is your dream? What are your dreams and your goals? So from that we get a picture of, okay, where have they been? Where are they now? Where would they love to be? And then it's just, you kind of create a direction, and we can create goals and plans, but I like simplicity, so like one thing. So when I meet someone, and I usually one thing at a time. So we not doing too much.
So how important is the mental aspect? I know you talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
The spiritual aspect as well. So how important is that?
I look at spirituality as the top of the totem pole. Because that's the spirit. That's our essence. That's our gift of life. The spirit, the psyche is like the intellect also. So I believe it's all extremely important. And the mind and the body, it's all interrelated. So you can't really separate them. They all work together, but it's critical. I look at kind of the way I mentioned it was kind of the hierarchical system. I like spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, and then environmentally. So like your relationship with yourself, and then being a witness of your emotions and your mental state, because most things come and go.
What about religion?
Religion, I'm not too big into religion. What you can, but it's culture. It's not just for the culture. So it's whatever suits you. Great. If whatever religion or whatever you want to practice, if you find value in it and it helps you be a better person and it helps you spread that light in others, awesome. I have seen a lot of hypocrisy in religion and following things because you get so stuck on certain ideologies, but as a human species, virtues and values are always going to be important, but life evolves, our environment evolves. If we don't evolve with it, I feel like we're missing something.
I've been preaching that for a while. I was
Yeah.
like, how can you go based off of something so old when times are changing?
Yeah,
You're
well, you
evolving.
apply it, but the thing is each religion, it's based around the same principles.
Yeah,
you just have to take those virtues and values and apply them to today. It's just like, I give an example, and I've had a couple of people they like that I say this. I was just in a yoga teacher training, but yoga is it's a great modality for movement and that mind-body-spirit connection. Now, yoga originates from the East, and their lifestyle, their body types were different. They weren't sitting in chairs like we do. So we need to adapt certain movement practices to suit us nowadays, right? Because 100 years ago, I don't think everybody was like this all the time and on their laptops and sitting hunched over. Our lifestyles are different. So we want to be adaptive. And it's just like survival of the fittest. If you don't adapt, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck is like, you have to. So
what kind of programs do you offer, like, or services?
Services, yeah. So it's primarily, I like coaching. I don't like to limit because I've developed a lot of skills. I'm very passionate about all this, and I have my own journey. I was in chronic pain when I was 18. I basically injured everything in my body, and I'm still healing. So from that whole basketball thing,
Yeah.
I realized that emotional heartbreak led to, so just like we all have something. So for me, I took to over-exercise to compensate for that loss I felt emotionally. And then I just played so much, lifted so much weights, did all this stuff, misguided. I had a personal trainer when I was 15. By the time I was 18, I did all the supplements, the bodybuilding, all that stuff. I was jacked, but then I was in pain. And I couldn't figure out what it was.
I heard
So
supplements are bad. They're bad for you. Is that true?
yeah, pretty. Oh well, no, I don't want to say that. I don't even like using good or bad, but it's just properly prescribed and know exactly what you're putting into your body, and that's taking a risk. Unless you know where the source is, you have no idea.
Yeah, they said the supplements are not subject to the.
Yeah, exactly. And supplement. The definition is a supplement to a diet. So if you're not even getting your diet right, why even go there? Yeah, you're just shortcuts. It comes back to being accountable for your life and like what you do and what you're creating moment to moment. But wait, where was our question? We're bouncing all over the place. Hopefully it's all good.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's open. I think it went back to
Like what kind of services?
Oh,
yeah,
services.
services.
Gosh. Okay, so basically, I would say primarily it's coaching, curating, and designing customized fitness, wellness programs, even sports specific for individuals, families, businesses, corporations. I'm open. I love helping people. There's nothing more fulfilling for me. Like, I already have it, than being able to share what I've worked so hard for and seeing people transform and for the betterment of themselves, and just seeing it and seeing how they're positively impacting their family, their friends. So it's just a beautiful sight. It's a butterfly effect.
So like businesses wise,
Corporate wellness, all of it. I
Oh.
teach class. Okay, I teach group exercise. it's hard to say. I'm still figuring out because I do a lot, and I'm open to doing in whatever way I can serve and help people, I will. So I don't want to like box it out, but primarily it's teaching, it's educating, coaching, training, all of it.
But broadly.
Broadly.
There's so many.
Yeah, because there's so many. So like I said,
an umbrella.
Yes, it's an umbrella. That's why holistic. Because I'm a huge believer in, like, I feel like my whole life people have been putting me in boxes and limiting. I'm like, no limit, please. Just let, like, I have no limitations, so please don't impose them on me. And I feel like that's important for all of us. And I like to stand up for people. Like, let's not limit ourselves.
Do you use holistic in everything that you do?
Yeah.
So
holistic meaning
whole. When it comes to training, what do exactly, like, give me examples of what you train people.
Okay, so let's say you want to get fit, or you want to get jacked, you want to get a six-pack, but you also have low back pain. I like to breathing, but obviously I'll meet everyone where they're at, because if they're so blinded to doing like breathing and corrective exercise and stuff like that, I will find ways to sneak it in. But holistic meaning in a exercise or a training session, we're gonna do stuff for your posture, your core. If you're in pain or something like that, we're gonna work on that. We're definitely gonna have a warm up. We're gonna do a total body integrative, like making you a better person physically, but also mentally, and it's training you for life. That's what holistic, because like the exercises and the way that I teach people, it's to make you better holistically, and then obviously having a cool down. So it could be like core activation, corrective exercise, postural stuff. Then we get into strength and conditioning, but then we have a restorative piece at the end and a little bit of meditation. So even the exercise sessions are holistic. So it helps you keep that balance and peace.
You're like kickboxing.
No, so even kickboxing. So all you gotta do is just make sure that you're balancing out the energy. So if you're putting out a lot of energy, just make sure that you're doing work in versus work out. That's a huge topic I like to talk about. Just
work
balance.
in versus
work out. And we usually need to work in more than work out.
When you say work in, what do you mean?
And
eating
time with yourself.
Oh, okay.
It can be prayer, meditation, anything that gets you back into that space where you're getting to know and love and appreciate yourself. Just like you said before the podcast, be yourself. To be yourself, you got to spend time with yourself.
Know yourself.